I was going to open this episode with a joke about being poor, but I decided against telling it. And it wasn't because I don't want to guilt trip you into snapping that Kit Kat bar, because I definitely do, but it's because I'm bad at jokes. Nonetheless, today I'm going to be reviewing the Ozarks, or Ozark, whatever it is, and I'll say my opinion for the show at the end of the episode. But the Ozark is about a dude who is basically the financial advisor for the cartel, and this leads to a variety of complex events that endanger not only himself, but his entire family. This show has a lot of sub-narratives that are hit or miss depending on your preferences, but at face value, the show is pretty much Marty and the family trying not to end up on the receiving end of a Florida diss track.
When I see you, I'ma push your shit back, boy. Chopper get the spitting through your set, we don't fight, boy.
See, I told you I'm bad at jokes. Look, nonetheless, over here I do my reviews a little different. Instead of doing a deep dive or a true retrospective on the show, I try to find 1 or 3 episodes that are interesting but don't spoil the plot too bad, review them, and end with my personal opinion. So for this video, I'm going to be reviewing season 3, episode 8 and 9, and this is where I have to warn you that this video will contain spoilers. I think they're moderate spoilers, but hey, it depends on who you are. Well, you know, I kind of saw what happens in these episodes coming, so to me it was just kind of a plot shift as you saw it coming instead of a plot twist. So while you decide if you want to catch up to this point in the show, keep watching the video regardless, or just flat out leaving and never coming back, I'm gonna run a quick ad to give you time to think.
I ain't gonna lie, I be trying to look for love and shit. The type of nigga I am, I already know. Look.
Alright, season 3, episode 8, titled BFF, starts with Marty checking on his therapist, the one he's been paying off to help win arguments with Wendy. And this is something that probably happens. Number one, if you're paying off your therapist, one, not only are you, I wouldn't say you're you have really bad morals, and it's just like you must be you're a control freak, okay? You got to be able to hear that you're wrong, all right? And it's like, why would you go to a third party for a different opinion just to pay them to agree with you? I don't get it. And two, if you're a therapist and you're allowing yourself to be paid off, that's a conflict of interest, and you need to lose your job. Anyways, last episode, he misstepped and told her some top secret information, and she used it to blackmail him. And, well, she died. And I don't feel bad for her. It makes the story more interesting, and if you're a therapist, you know you shouldn't have conflicts of interest. So, yeah, she probably deserved to lose her job. I mean, it's not fair for me to say someone deserves to die for being, Anyways, because people, you know what I'm saying? When you're a therapist, people's livelihoods are at stake. So, neither here nor there. Anyways, nonetheless, after some digging, Marty realizes that his therapist has been murdered, and he acts as needed. Ozarks does this cool thing where the logo gives you a hint of what's going to happen in the episode. I don't really know the word for it. I think it's a horoscope. Close enough. Anyways, the kids are going off to community service because they did some dumb teenager things. Nothing too wild, minus the fact that there was a gun involved. Anyways, Helen and Wendy have a chat. It's semi-friendly. Then there's a spontaneous sex scene, which is important for later. Flash forward, Marty continues to try to softcore bribe this FBI agent that's investigating him. These interactions between them and Marty in general, where they explain things like basically tax evasion and all kinds of white collar crime, it's very interesting. As wild as these things are, it's safe to assume some of them have happened or are still happening. And two, you know what I'm saying? And white collar crimes aren't really talked about, you know what I'm saying, in movies and whatnot. And if it is, it's kind of specific, but this is just all kinds. They got the whole freaking shebang of white collar crimes and fraud and tax evasion and this, that, and the third. It's kind of a candy shop of that. So random information. And personally, I like it because it's kind of refreshing to hear that instead of how people are getting away with murder. Speaking of which, there's a lot of murder in this show. Nonetheless, Ruth goes back to work all beaten up and whatnot, but this is why, in both ways, this is why I chose these episodes. So Ben drives up to the KC mob headquarters. I don't know how the hell he knows where that is. That's going to be a reoccurring theme, and he does this. After realizing what he's done, well, what he's done is stupid, he leaves. Now, it's revealed earlier in the season, Ben is bipolar, and this isn't like get sassy and petty bipolar. This is aggressive, I want to fight bipolar. We are going to focus on, him, because while the rest of the story is cool, this has the most relevant, it's more substance to me. Anyways, you'll see that Ben's anger and lack of impulse control makes him do things, and sometimes he realizes what he's doing wrong, but he'll still continue. Sometimes it's weird. Anyways, sometimes he leaves before it gets too bad. Like I said, sometimes he'll just keep on going. Keyword, sometimes. Alright, so Ben is at a bar drinking away his sorrow like most people do. It is America, and who doesn't like a nice drink, you know what I'm saying? But one thing you shouldn't pair with beer is, well, anger and a lack of impulse control, because this happens.
Being really fucking nice, Ty. You got a problem?
So he goes to jail, and Helen pulls some strings and gets him out. Ruth talks to Ben, and this conversation leads to absolutely nothing, because Ben does this thing where he apologizes, then justifies his actions, which is such a childish and counterproductive thing ever. It's super disingenuous. If you're one of those people that do that, you should really stop. Like, just apologize, and even if you're sending hollow apologies, at least just shut up after that. Don't tell me you're sorry for doing something and then justify you doing it, because it just shows that you're gonna do it again. And nobody ever, despite him being around older people, not Ruth isn't old, but yeah, Marty and Wendy are visually old in this show, and he does it around them, and they don't stop it. But anyways, we'll continue on that later. Nonetheless, no one ever confronts Ben, like I just said, and tells him that there's this thing in the English language called consequences. More on that later. Ben sweet talks his way out of basically being in trouble and realizing his sister has been doing some left-handed stuff. And in the next scene, Marty recommends that he goes to a mental hospital because he keeps causing problems. Wendy, being emotional, she combats this, and I get it, that's her brother, so I won't argue that. But her rebuttal to Marty saying this, you need to go to a hospital, is she's gonna try to put him on back on his medicine. Skipping the scene about Agent Maya, she gets reprimanded for avoiding some information that Marty gave her, and now we get this.
Lay it on me, tell me what a fuck up I am, what a fuck up I've always been.
Hey. Don't get mad at me.
I'm not mad at anybody.
In this scene, it pisses me off because she's being so vague, right? She tells him it's not safe here, and Ben is he's very good at subject dodging and controlling the narrative. Instead of Wendy explaining to him that messing with the KC mob will get you killed, and assault charges can and will get you arrested. They also completely ignored the fact that he had a quote outstanding bench warrant in another state, meaning that he came to y'all because if he went back to where he came from, he's gonna get arrested, and then he does something here to get arrested, and y'all gonna be vague with him and not tell him, nigga, if you get it. Okay, look. All right, look, let's get back to it. Anyways, she never tells him the way you're acting is going to put you back in the mental hospital. But Ben brings some stuff up. Wendy gets flustered when Ben insinuates that he knows about Wendy's murder victim, right? So this is two situations where someone could have explained to Ben, his actions have consequences. You can't just go around doing dumb shit because you're mad about some stuff you have no control over, but they didn't. So right now, Ben feels completely justified by his actions. Despite him being bipolar, they make it clearly evident that Ben has the mind of a child, but even then, children can understand consequences, right? If your kid does something stupid, right? If he goes and throws a basketball at the neighbor's car car and you spank him for it, he's probably not going to throw a basketball at the neighbor's car anymore. If your kid comes in here and punches a hole in your flat screen TV and you freaking throw a shoe at him, he's probably not going to punch a hole in your flat screen TV anymore. Children understand consequences. So despite him having the mind of a child, it's completely inexcusable for him to do dumb shit, but I can't say it's inexcusable for him because the authority figures in his life continue to let him do dumb shit and feel justified about it. Alright, let me find my place again. Anyways, not only that, but Ben understands what he's doing is wrong, but he loves Ruth, and that's his motivation for doing dumb shit. Plus, no matter what he does, Wendy or someone comes out of the fire he left and saves him from pretty much anything harsh. Like the harshest thing that's happened to him, he drove up to a gang headquarters and drove out before he got jumped. He beat up a random dude at a bar, and fortunately that dude was just some business dude. If it was somebody else, he would have got his shit pummeled. And after that, he spends an hour or so in jail. So anyways, no matter what he does or how shitty it is, also earlier in the season, spoiler, he takes a bunch of kids' phones and throws it in a wood chipper because they found something on the internet, right? So for damaging thousands of dollars worth of property, he got to go crash with his sister. Like he doesn't face consequences. Anyways, no matter what, yeah, I just said that. Anyways, this is where it gets good, right? Ben shows up to the foundation opening ceremony. They're opening a foundation for charity, one that's legitimate. This, that, and the third is a big part of the fucking season. Anyways, something extremely important for Marty, Wendy, Helen, and the cartel. So Ben shows up and Wendy immediately goes to confront him, and he is steaming, alright? He starts having an emotional breakdown and, well,
And it's fucking okay.
I need you to just calm down a little bit.
yeah, he gets dragged away after this, and I feel bad because
Can't we just send him to a private facility?
We've already found a very good one. It's nearby.
I'm sorry, but that's the law.
Helen tells Ben he's going to a mental hospital, and well, he takes it.
You are going to the Central Ozarks Behavioral Health Center.
No.
Yes. You will be committed on an indefinite hold.
No. No, 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 no. No, no, no.
Alright, pause. Wendy's over here crying and shit, and like, I get it, saying, but I say it again. It's your fault that this man is going to he should have been there in the first place, but it's your fault that this is happening, and I'll explain later, because in the next episode, it gets even better. Oh boy. So later in the episode, Wendy and Ruth visit him in the hospital. Ruth goes to see him, bada bing, bada boom, you know what I'm saying? Also, he didn't want fucking Wendy in the room, because he's being a dickhead, right? He's soaking in a corner as one does, right? And he starts the conversation with,
I can't believe she did this.
and Ruth ignored it. Now, she's a little bent out of shape because her boyfriend is in a mental hospital, whatever, right? And when he mentions he figured out Wendy murdered someone, and she gets flustered, Ruth gets flustered, and they basically spend 3 minutes crying. Anyways, he says,
She promised me she would never do this again.
and it gets worse.
What exactly am I wrong about?
Nothing. All right, he's wrong about nothing. Like, he says, "What am I wrong about?" Wendy didn't put you in the mental hospital. You put yourself in a mental hospital. Wendy didn't send you to jail. You sent yourself to jail twice. Ben, he was a substitute teacher, as I alluded to earlier. He's not stupid, right? He's a fucking teacher. He's not stupid, right? He's not mentally handicapped. So he should understand consequences, right? You beat up that dude in the bar. You can't just beat people up in a public location, dude. That's assault. You get arrested. You crashed a party with hundreds of people, not only causing a scene. You can't get arrested for causing a scene, whatever, right? But they had to forcibly remove you from the premises. That gets you arrested, especially after you assault a fucking guy, right? And And you can't just go around causing a ruckus, then throw your hands up and say, I did this because X and Z. And you know, the law does not give a fuck about you in your justification. It's against the fucking law. And what's insane is nobody fucking tells him that, right? It's like the dude with the most sense is the fucking little kid. I forgot his name. I'm gonna call him Jacob or whatever. The little shithead, right? He's the one with the most sense out of all of this, and he won't even tell him, nigga, there's consequences. You can't go do this dumb shit all the time. Anyways, at the bare minimum, you don't have to give him a whole speech about, hey, if you get arrested, you know, and you do a crime because of your mental issue, it is law that you go to a mental hospital. So if you don't want to go to a mental hospital, you need to stop doing dumb shit. You don't even have to say that. You just have to warn them. Hey, don't go mess with the KC mob. They're dangerous people. You don't need to be around them. They will hurt you, or if you hurt them, you're going to go to jail or die. Hey, you shouldn't beat people up in the bar. There's a warning. If you get arrested, we're putting you in a mental hospital. Bam. Good. That's all you got to say right there. Fuck everything I just said. If you get arrested, we're sending you to the hospital. Nigga will cry for 3 hours. He won't do no dumb shit again. But they don't do that. No, don't take my advice. Don't worry. They didn't even hear my advice. Whatever. Anyways, you know, you can warn them about that, you know, and well, the episode ends with the worst possible outcome. Ben gets released, and it gets real good because he goes straight to Helen's place, and I don't know how the fuck he knows where she lives. And well,
Help me out. Get behind me, Aaron. You won't know what a piece of shit your mother is, Aaron. Think she's a fucking lawyer? Well, she ain't.
Not gonna lie, whoever this Ben dude is, really good actor. I ain't gonna hold you. He doing a phenomenal job, because you know what I'm saying? And in case you forgot or you haven't seen this part, you know, if you haven't seen the show, Helen has a hitman who's killed 3, 4, 5 people so far in the show. And she's warned Marty and Wendy, if anyone tells her daughter about the cartel, she will kill him. And guess what Wendy's bipolar brother just did?
You finna die, baby.
That's where the episode ends. So I'm gonna run a quick ad because I need my 26 cents I make a video. So let it run while you go to the restroom or hydrate or grab popcorn or whatever.
Lay it on me. Tell me what a fuck up I am, what a fuck up I've always been.
Hey.
What if I let that guy out? He goes and shoots up a fucking bar.
He won't. I want him out today.
Drug money, Aaron, for the Navarro drug cartel.
That's enough. You need to turn around and you need to leave now.
Fuck you.
So now we got episode 9 titled Fire Pink. Alright, it opens with Ben going on an extended rant. He's thinking out loud, basically having a soliloquy, but out loud. It gives you a good look at his mentality. Nothing he's saying is wild or crazy. It's actually quite philosophical, but what he is saying takes a dramatic shift, and you realize he's not crazy because of what he's saying. He's crazy because he's able to rant this whole fucking car ride despite the fact the driver is actively ignoring him. Most things people wouldn't really talk about or say, he just blurts that shit out loud, right? And he switches between talking in first and third person in this, which besides the mood swing, I don't know if that's bipolar or something else. But anyways, fast forward.
Then why'd you put him in the hospital when he was begging you not to? You've known me since I was 19 years old. Is that the kind of treatment I got looking forward to?
It's sad to see that Ruth believes this fallacy that they put him in the hospital. Then
you spoke to Helen.
Yes, I spoke to her.
So they realize he's finna get fucked. So Ruth takes him to go somewhere, right? So Marty calls to tell Wendy, and boom, this is where she realizes her brother is finished, alright? He's done. So she tries to tell Helen,
my brother's really sick.
And you can't see the air quotes, but I use them. Anyways, we get a scene with the kids, and it's crazy how they can lie and confront their parents. I mean, just be absolute dickheads to their parents, right? But when a high school girl runs up all flustered, they get cold feet. Nonetheless, they try to tell her to shut the fuck up about it because this is really dangerous. This guy, he's the hitman, and he does a really good fucking job. So next we get to Darlene's place. That's where Ruth took him. He's still ignorant to the situation, but at least he's safe now. Ruth and Wyatt have a brother and sister moment, but at the Bird residence, Wendy says,
Can you give your mother and me a moment, please?
No.
That's wild. And this scene doesn't do much, but the show, just to show the lack of control they have over it, doesn't, you know what I'm saying? They have a severe lack of control over their kids. Like right here.
No?
No.
While it's noble that they let the kids talk, but at some point you gotta let them know when they're out of line. But that's a topic for another day. Anyways, check this out.
I feel like I fucked up pretty bad.
Ben starts to realize, hey, what I'm doing might lead to bad things for me. And Wyatt is like, nah, you're fine. I can't blame Wyatt because he doesn't know that Ben is a fucking idiot, right? He has no idea about Ben's issues, but Wyatt gives Ben the best advice he's gotten since he showed up. He asked, should I call Helen or go say I'm sorry? And Wyatt responded,
look, I don't think that she'd have brought you here and told you to stay if she wanted you to leave.
Anyways, Hitman is chilling thinking about, his life, as we all do. And then he sees this. We get a funny little scene where Marty is talking about one thing, but his answer lines up with something that somebody's saying. His answer to what he's seeing, a completely different situation, is lining up with the conversation someone's trying to have with him. Pretty cool. Anyways, Ben shows up to say sorry to Ruth, and he's about 30 seconds away from dying just to apologize, right? Which is cool. I can't think of an analogy, but analogies only go so far. They work a lot better when they're backed by actions, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, we get this scene with Ben and Marty, and Ben asks for another chance, and Marty decides to be relatable, right, and explain to him what's happening, which is very effective for normal people. But Ben understand what's happening is his problem, and his understanding is the why. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused at this point. I hope you're not confused. Anyways, I had to mute this next scene because I absolutely hate the sound of chewing. It's my #1 pet peeve. But they're bonding and Ben has a mood swing, right? He realizes he fucked up and he asked, how did this happen? And Wendy vaguely explains that you can't mess with people's children. He shrugs it off and shifts the topic on how did I fuck up, from how did I fuck up to how did you fuck up? And they laugh it off. Unfortunately, that's the closest anyone gets to telling Ben, hey, you fucked up. You did X, Y, and Z. This is why we're here. Anyways, Marty gets pressed by his kids, something light, it is what it is. But back to Wendy and Ben. Ben decides to activate dead silence and test his incognito skills. And because of that, Wendy wakes up to this. That's an officer. Anyways, someone called the police because Ben went around explaining his situation. Anyways, Wendy says this.
What, some absolute nonsense my brother, who just got off a psychiatric hold, by the way, just rattled off to some drifter in a parking lot?
And bam, she bullshit her way out of it. She doesn't confront Ben about this. She just slaps his shoulder. And I would say she let out some expletives, but she didn't cuss. Anyways, Helen says,
Ben doesn't have to die because of what he told Aaron. Ben has to die because Aaron is not the last person he will tell.
And she's 100% right, because he literally just did that. Anyways, Marty tries to talk her out of it, but then again,
I wanted to tell you I'm sorry.
Ben calls Helen, and I don't know how the fuck he got her number, but Wendy breaks the phone and loosely says the consequences on him, she loosely lays them on him, right? But she yells at him and, well, he deserved it. But another opportunity gone, and, well, it's irreversible at this point, so, no point in crying over spilled milk. Ben's in the car crying, and it's sad, but you did it to yourself. Then Wendy goes over there and reassures him and tells him he's not wrong, which is a part of the fucking problem. With the power of hindsight, I realized why she's doing this, so I'm not gonna rant about it right now. Plus, been there, done that. We get this scene where Marty chews into the mic, making me want to punch a hole in my fucking monitor. And then Ben goes to the gas station, and I learned something new.
Did that man just buy a phone?
He sure did. You need a phone?
Apparently, you can buy phones from the fucking gas station. Also, where the hell is he getting money from? Next, we get this scene where they continue to make sure it's absolutely undeniable that they are eating something. And they are bonding, which is, you know, Wendy asking him a bunch of high school questions like, what do you see yourself short term and long term? Which I was like, okay, normal-ish. But then when he asked her the same question, she didn't answer and she refused to eat. And I'm like, all right, something's askew here, right? Then she leaves and I'm like, okay, she's just about to leave his ass at the restaurant. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. So Wendy's having an emotional breakdown. Then there are so many songs about this car, and none of them are good. Here's some lyrics from one of them.
Whole lot of shots like his face off. Fit through a hay, got the roof with a Draco. Back from the M's in the case closed. Butt on my kicks, that's some stomping his face off.
Look, he got a black flag, nigga, take it off. You get shot down if you play a song. I keep a Glock round, I will let it off. This a diss track, this is not a song.
The episode ends with Marty trying to raise up a grieving woman, and the hitman does hitman things. And that's season 3, episode 8 and 9. I reviewed these episodes because they show how if you keep sheltering people from consequences, it's eventually going to catch up to them. Same thing with yourself. If you keep ducking and dodging consequences, it will eventually get to you. Now, you can't talk your way out of everything. You can't fight your way out of everything. At some point, you just got to tank it. When it comes to certain situations, the best thing to do is to handle them. The best way to handle them is just to not be there in the first place. The Marty family avoided telling Ben how severe his actions were and how egregious the reaction to his actions would be. So, you know, there were so many situations where Marty, Wendy, Ruth could have told him something, you know, at least a little bit to help him out. You know, don't go around punching people, you'll get arrested. It's state law that you go to a mental hospital with your condition if you go around punching people. Enough on Ben. But because this continues for the next few episodes, like if I reviewed the next 2 episodes, you'd see the kids start getting curious about Ben's whereabouts, and they start pressing Marty and Wendy, saying things like, Ben didn't deserve to die. Just like this episode where Ruth said he didn't deserve the mental hospital. And again, that is such a fallacy. At first I was mad, even though this was a show, that's how I knew it was good. Like, these kids are really annoying, right? They were pissing me off. But then I remembered this quote from Toonrific Tariq's channel, a guest on there.
Do the stupidest shit ever, alright? I remember I saw this post on Tumblr. Yes, I still use Tumblr. Get on me. I don't care. But somebody was like, people will say, oh my gosh, this character is so fucking annoying, and then the character they are talking about is a 14-year-old kid. I hate to break it to you, but like, kids that age are annoying, y'all. It's normal.
And I realized, like, it's not their fault they're being little dickheads. I mean, that's what kids do, right? It's the kids' fault, you know? They're saying Ben doesn't deserve X, Ben doesn't deserve Y, you should have did Z instead, and they choke. Marty and Wendy choke. They can talk to a fucking murderous jerk cartel, but they can't tell their kids to shut the fuck up. He deserves, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, tell the kids, like, Ben sent himself to the mental hospital when he walked into a public event, assaulted your father, right in front of you, by the way, then proceeded to struggle against guards. So, like, that's disturbing the peace. Assault, resisting arrest, maybe trespassing, because he wasn't fucking invited, and I think that was a paid event. And if your disability causes you to commit crimes, it is law for you to go to a mental institution if they deem that you are mentally you know what I'm saying? But another thing is I want to get into before I end this is also sprinkled on this episode. The following is them saying Ben is insane, air quotes, he's sick, as kind of a buffer to excuse his actions, which is completely invalid, right? They only state that Ben has bipolar disorder. Now, I'm not trying to downplay the severity of that illness, even though I'm definitely about to downplay the severity of that illness. Bipolar disorder isn't schizophrenia. It's not psychosis or any other illnesses I'm not thinking of, right? I'm not an expert, by the way. nonetheless, Ben has an anger management issue, and impulse control issues, which a lot of fucking people have anger management issues and whatnot. Those aren't disorders. Those are basic human emotions we all have. And Ben has been conditioned to the point where he feels like he can act on almost any impulse he has in his anger issues, whatever. And then again, we all feel anger. We all feel impulses, So when Ben goes and punches a dude at a bar, that's not because he's bipolar. That's a lack of impulse control. Now, him being bipolar may have helped, you know what I'm saying? May have influenced the situation, but I don't think so, Maybe you think somebody's annoying and you want to cuss him out. Maybe you think somebody's annoying and you slap him, but he fucking stomped the dude out. And it's hard to explain, but I'm doing my best, all right? Look, the basis of what I'm trying to explain here is they go around saying after this, Ben is sick. He crashed our party because he's back. This is what happens when you talk for 30 fucking minutes straight, okay? Basically, they're trying to say he's bipolar, admitting all fault on both sides because, he has a disability. No, okay? Ben came to the Ozarks because he made a stupid decision to steal phones from kids and destroy them. Ben got arrested because he harassed, then beat up a guy at the bar. Ben got arrested again because, like we said, he disturbed the peace, was trespassing, assaulted his brother-in-law, and resisted arrest. Ben died because as soon as he gets out of the mental hospital, he makes a beeline to a lawyer who he knows is in charge of some dangerous people and can murder people, and cussed her out in front of her fucking kid. So that's trespassing, I don't know if that's breaking and entering because he was technically not in the house, so he was on the property, whatever. Explain to me what the fuck is, bipolar has to do with any of that. Did it influence him beating that dude up, like I said earlier? Yeah, you can make an argument for that. Was the fact he was intoxicated and already emotional, though, help that out? Yes. What about the second arrest? Being bipolar may have made him irrationally cuss out Wendy. I give you that. But that did not cause you to punch fucking Marty, right? The only effect bipolar disorder had to do with any of these situations is the fact that it gave him an option to go to a facility instead of just straight up jail. And in the last instance, it's more arguable, but I want to point out that he didn't die because of this, right? He would have gotten arrested again. Or if he didn't die because of running up on our property and whatever, he would have gotten arrested because he was again trespassing and he destroyed her property when he flipped the fucking table. So Ben fucked himself, right? And I wanted to review these episodes because this shows how dangerous it is when you make a mistake and you project your issues instead of taking a look in the mirror, right? It also shows how dangerous it is when you're around this person and you continuously enable their behavior. Now, of course, for most of us, doing this wouldn't lead to a life or death situation, but doing what these people did in this episode will only lead you to alienating yourself or destroying a lot of good relationships and whatnot. Ben could have lived if someone told him, you need to stop before you get sent back to a facility, instead of saying, you're not wrong, and then blindsided him with life-altering consequences. Anyways, I'm rambling. That was a little bit of a mess, but I do not feel like doing it because we're 30 minutes in. This is a good show. It's not bad. I feel indifferent about it, though. With that being said, I still find it interesting, but I don't have any attachment to the characters. I mean, I liked Rachel and Ruth because, they're odd, but besides that, those are like surface level attachments. Like those, like they're out of sight, out of mind the second they're not in an episode. Out of 3.5 seasons, this streak of episodes is the only time I really felt emotionally invested. It's mostly because I'm like, why the fuck are y'all letting this happen? Nonetheless, how do you feel about the show? If you've seen it, do you like it? If you haven't seen it, are you more likely to watch it after seeing this video? I'm dropping this on the 29th and when the second part of the season 4 releases. So, hopefully to bring in some new viewers. If you want me to review the last part of season 4, I will do that. And if you stuck around for this colossus of an episode, I really appreciate it. And until we meet in the comments, remember, if you know, man, because we know we up next, sponsored by Atari. And fuck.
The joint will be hopping. The octopus said the same thing to Yoshi. It's about being patient, taking the moment. So snap out of it. You can't let a couple of losses blow you off course. You don't have to win now, just someday. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Well, it kills the octopus